Welcome to Logistics Business Conversations, where we talk with key spokespeople in the logistics industry about topical issues. Hosted by Peter MacLeod, editor of Logistics Business magazine.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to the latest edition of Logistics Business Conversations podcast. And as always, it's my great pleasure to host this conversation. In this episode, entitled Humans and Robots, How Collaboration is Shaping the Future of Logistics, we're going to take a deep dive into how robotics is shaping the way in which the warehouse operates. There's no question that automation and robotics are transforming logistics, but rather than replacing human workers, they're now increasingly designed to work with them. In this podcast, we're going to explore the synergy between human workers and robotic systems, how these collaborations enhance efficiency, safety and productivity in the warehouses and supply chains around the world. I'm delighted to be speaking on this topic today with Damon He, who is head of EMEA at SEER Robotics. Welcome to the pod, Damon.
Thanks, Peter.
So, Damon, before we get into the heart of the matter, could you briefly tell us a little bit about SEER Robotics and the role you played, please?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. SEER Robotics is a company specialized in mobile robots technology, and we provide a series of standard models of robots and also the controller as a standard-alone product to support others build their own robots in days. Until now, we have delivered over 15,000 systems in 65 countries. For myself now, I'm managing Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, including marketing and sales, technical support, project implementation, and after-sales service in the area.
Wow, you've got a big job, Damon, that's for sure. Many hats to wear. Now, there are a lot of myths and misapprehensions floating around about the idea that robots will replace humans in logistics. So what are your thoughts on this, and how do you address those sorts of fears?
Yeah, we heard about that mostly years ago, but now I think people understand more. But with these mobile robots implemented, people may find that there are less people moving materials in the factory and less forklift drivers walking around. So they have these concerns are quite understandable. However, seen from the thousands of projects delivered by ourselves or by our partners, almost no people were cut down directly because of the using robots. The robots are mainly implemented to automate repetitive, physical demanding, dangerous, and low-skilled jobs. This also empowers humans to focus on creative and innovative, also high-value jobs or tasks. So I would say instead of seeing robots replacing humans, robots are actually helping to restructure jobs. Robots do some job instead of human, and human do some higher level jobs.
And can you sort of suggest there may be some cases whereby the sort of growth of robotics has led to job creation rather than job loss?
Yeah, of course. I think an international example is Amazon, who used the robots in the earliest stage, the mobile robots. In the past 10 years, mostly in the past 5 years, Amazon has implemented nearly 1 million robots in their own warehouse for the e-commerce business. The employees in picking, sorting, packaging jobs are dramatically decreased in percentage. But if we see the numbers, whole number of the employee in Amazon, it increased nearly 100% in the last 5 years. So we can see the number of employee increase, it can be because of the business growing, but at least we can say that the robots did not decrease the positions of human. I also have some case in CS customer, because we different with Amazon, we also provide controllers which allow customer to build their own robots. So some big customers, they decided to use our controller to create their own robots, which is very customized. In this case, they also create some jobs in their company before they don't have. This is also an example that robots creating jobs.
So just when you think about the processes within the warehouse for the goods traveling from goods in through to dispatch, where are the areas where humans and robots can collaborate, where you're seeing sort of your products being placed and used? What are the sort of roles that they are assisting with?
In our project, because we are mostly working on the mobile robots, and the mobile robots are used to carry loads. So it can carry the loads from the warehouse to the factory, from production line to the warehouse, or from production line to production line. So basically, our robots help people to carry everything, to help them automate the transportation only.
And so these are the repetitive tasks, the predictable tasks. Are there other areas, like, for example, at the dispatch side, the sorting, the packing side, where robots can assist humans as well?
Yes, of course. Same with the transportation, sorting, packing, also picking are typically also repetitive tasks. And now with the help of the visual system and AI, robots can significantly increase the efficiency and accuracy, even higher than human. And the role of the human becomes dealing with the, let's say, broken packages, unclear labeling, or do some random inspection, which robots can also make some mistakes sometimes because of programming. So in this way, I think with the robot and human collaboration, it increases the overall efficiency.
I like the fact that you say robots make mistakes, but of course, those mistakes are only because a human has made the mistake in the first place.
Yeah, programming.
It's always the human, isn't it? The weakest link. But, the human is still very important within the warehouse. You're talking about robots replacing some of these repetitive tasks. So therefore, that must have some benefits to the health and well-being of warehouse workers.
I would say that at least robots now is decreasing the injuries to people. For example, our robots are used to lift heavy loads or to transport heavy loads, which is a leading cause of workplace injuries, particularly in the manufacturing and logistics. With these robots doing these high-risk tasks, the workplace injuries can be avoided from the very beginning. And accidents from transportation also leads to human injuries. And now we have these robots comply to the ISO 3691-4, which is a safety standard with many safety sensors, and they can enable people to interact with them so that when human is close to the robots, it stops by themselves. So in this case, it also avoids accidents. So from these points, we can see that the robot can help to decrease some injuries. Also, with some special design, robot can go directly to some environment with high temperature or very low temperature or hazardous area that humans never want to go in.
Right, and so that's a very obvious advantage to automating your warehouse operations. But I think you mentioned a little earlier, we've got the reduction in errors and greater throughput. What are the other impacts that automation has, in the warehouse?
Besides of these safety factors, I think most important is it also increases the productivity. You know that the robot never stop working unless charging, and while people have to rest. So in this automated warehouse, robots can work 24/7. This definitely increases the productivity, and also about the data, because for robots working in the warehouse, everything is traceable, so that we can collect the data, and with the data analysis, we know where to improve, where the problem. So we can improve with this data. Compared to human, if it's a human, there are a lot of random action. In this case, it's hard to analyze.
So you must have put thousands of robots into live workplaces. What are some of the insights you're getting out from your customer sites?
I think the biggest thing that the customers all fear gain from these robots are safety and standardization. Because robots are doing heavy and risky jobs, people can avoid many possible injuries and physical strains, because you work every day, you have strains. In our life, we use different tools and machines to avoid risks to people and lighten the work for people. Robot is also kind of tool or machine to do this. And also robots are taught to do certain action in certain time. It is standard, because every time it does the same thing, same action. So it makes the whole process standard and traceable. Once it is standard, it is easier to be analyzed. Then the company or the customer could know where to improve. So they get the direction. And in SEER Robotics, we also care most about the safety and standardization. We work out the first robot safety controller in the world back to 4 years ago. And we have been always working towards using standard products to solve customized scenarios.
It's interesting that I'm talking to a robotics expert, and I want to speak more to you about humans than I do about robots. Because, as I said before, the human is still very much a significant part of what you're talking about. So from my side, I want to know, the study of human behavior around robotics. How do you help the workforce to get on board with this new world that we're living in?
Okay, so firstly, there will be some new skills because they are doing transportation before. Now the robots are doing that. So what they do, they should have some new skills. The very big ones are safety awareness. So the workers should be able to work alongside the robots. For this, they have to know how the robots perform and what the people should perform. So this will be the very basic to be safe. And the next level is to operate. People should understand how to operate the robot, how to do maintenance to the robot. If there's any problem happening, how to do the troubleshooting. And with all these levels, they can at least collaborate with the robot. Operate, maintain, and solve problem for the robot. And beyond of this, there are also some higher level skills. For example, programming, data analysis, or even go to customer service, which can allow them quite a new position. To do this, of course, it needs trainings. So from us or from the integrators, in every stage, we provide different training to the workers, to the engineers, to get used to the robot automation.
I can understand that some of the more ambitious warehouse workers may want to take on some of these higher value roles, but there'll always be the man or the lady working in the warehouse whose ambition is to earn a wage and get home at the end of the day safe and happy and fulfilled. So these workers who remain on the warehouse floor, how do you turn them around into your way of thinking when it comes to working with or alongside robots?
It's a good question. Actually, look back, I think there are many concerns from the workers, such as safety. For the first automation project, they are worried that if the robot can turn down, it will affect their own job. And they are also worrying that probably they cannot solve some problem of the robot, then the robot also going to turn down for days. Of course, they are worried about the job replacing. And I think the best way to minimize these worries or this resistance is the early involvement for the workers. So in my experience, the customer involved the workers in the early stage of the project for all the workflow of the robots, because the workers actually, they understand the workflow because it was their job before. So they involve inside. During the involvement, they understand what is the purpose and what will be the future when the robot is there. So they understand they are not losing job, but they are managing different things. The next stage could be a proof of concept, POC. It's also very important because it's not a real project, but when we providing POC on site, the workers can understand what the robot really is and how it works. In this stage, they can understand the reality when there will be an automation project. In this way, they don't only listen, but they see what will happen. So I think in this ways, it helps people to accept robots.
Yeah, collaboration and communication from the manufacturer and the integrators seems to be the way to go. And what other fears do the operators have? Are they concerned that they'll just become robots themselves, just doing a job that's effectively assisting rather than a job that's making a real difference?
In reality, when the robots are there, actually they are happier than what they do before, because the jobs they are doing now is less labor work and more office work, and they started to learn more skills. When the project is implemented in very short period, let's say weeks or months, workers can get happier than what they do before. So the most challenge is still before the project. Then the communication is very important.
We're at a very sophisticated level of robotics, or so it seems today. But I guess, as always, in the future, we'll look back and think, wow, do you remember back in 2025, we thought we were so clever, but we didn't even imagine how robotics would take off. So I'm going to ask you to maybe just have a little look into the future, Damon, if you don't mind, and just maybe talk us through what some of your predictions would be about how technologies will evolve, and if there's areas where for even further collaboration that perhaps can be explored.
For now, I could say that people is still leading, and but with the very advanced technology now, AI, DeepSeek and ChatGPT now are very popular. With this AI technology, probably we will have more advanced machine learning. Than we are targeting that less and less human involvement is needed in the transportation, at least. And in this way, people can get more involved in the robot or programming development side, and also to do more in the improving their own workflow. So the trend, I think, is less and less human involvement in the repetitive jobs.
And do you think AI will play a part in that?
I believe so. And for SEER Robotics, we are also starting to do that, to inject AI into our robots.
So what are the benefits that AI can bring? What are the tasks that AI enables the robots to carry out that they couldn't do before?
Without AI, all the programs are fixed. So before project, we have to do the programming. We have to teach the robot what to do, what not to do. But with AI, we are thinking that the robot can optimize themselves in the environment. For example, the mobile robots is working in a very dynamic environment. In the factory, there's always something change, always some people move around. And more and more robots working inside means that less and less people working inside. So the robot actually know the environment better than people. So if it has the capability to learn by itself and to improve by itself, I believe this can be a very big improvement and a very big step for the automation project.
Can you ever see a time when warehouses will be fully autonomous, where you just have a man with a broom to sweep the floor and maybe somebody on standby for service, and then operations are controlled from an office remotely? Do you think that's going to be the future?
I think it's possible. Everything is possible, but from my knowledge, I think at least in the next couple of years, we are not ready. I believe human is still needed, and is in very big need, actually. And because at least it will be human to optimize all the process and the programming before AI can.
I'm not going to ask you to be too specific here, Damon, but I imagine SEER has a vision for the future of logistics robotics. What can you tell me about what your company is aiming for, what you're gunning towards, what you're going to be hoping the future will hold for the whole world of logistics automation?
All right. SEER is very focused on the technology of controller. We help others to build robots, build mobile robots. We do this since the very beginning of the company. And in next 5 or 10 years, we can think that we want to still focus on that. So what we want to do is that we want to make building robots easier, faster, and secondly, we want to make the robot smarter. That's why we want to use AI to inject in the robot. And thirdly, what we want to do is we don't want to only control the mobile robots. We want our controller to control also other robots like humanoid robots and other intelligent devices inside our warehouse and the factory. So in a word, we want to make robot faster, smarter, and controlling more.
I could talk about robotics in the warehouse all day, and I'm sure you can too. If we ever get the chance to meet in the real world, I'm sure we'll have a good conversation. But as we're sort of reaching towards the end of our allotted time, I just wonder if we could maybe just dial back a little bit and talk about some of the more sort of headline areas around robotics. I was going to ask you, what advice would SEER have for companies who are considering automation?
For a company who considers automation for the first time, we always suggest them to find a professional consultant and working out together with the consultant, the purpose, the expectation, timeline, standard, safety, and budget of the project. In this way, the company at least have a vision what will happen for the project. And once these are clear, the company also should to move forward with proof of concept. Invite some candidates to do a couple of weeks proof of concept. This can help the company to know that if this is really something they want, and help the workers, engineers to understand what the company want to do. With these two steps, at least the company can avoid mistakes. Otherwise, if they go with a big project at the beginning, it could be a very big mistake. It's very expensive.
Now, to businesses listening to this who haven't taken the step into automation, or certainly at the level where we're talking this human-robot collaboration, what are the steps that they can take? You know, what are the do they have to go all in, or is there a more sort of progressive way into this technology?
Yeah, at least for mobile robots, it's very flexible. In most of projects that end up with 60, 70 or 100 robots, it always start from small. Let's say in the factory, usually a customer will start from 2 to 3 robots working together in a very small area. When it is successful, we call it a pilot project. When it's successful, software like the management software from SEER Robotics is always compatible and flexible to make a big fleet. And also all the robots communicate with each other. So when the pilot is successful, it's very easy to scale up.
And I just thought, as a sort of final takeaway from this podcast, we've talked about efficiencies in the warehouse. We've talked about greater data and the ability to react to that. Can you just maybe give us an overview of, in general terms, how robotics can be an enhancement rather than a replacement for human labor?
As we talked above, that robots help people on the boring, dangerous, repetitive tasks and jobs, and they create a safe workplace for people. Give people time and space to work on the innovative jobs. And also robots can create some new jobs for people in different ways. And also, finally, in the real project, we rarely see employee cut off because of any automation project. So I would say that it's a time to welcome robot, not to resisting them.
Yes, that's absolutely. That's a great call to action to end this podcast with. It's been terrific having this conversation with you today, Damon. Thank you very much for talking to us today about this great topic, and in particular for clearing up several misapprehensions that some of us may have had about robotics and collaboration with them. So I want to thank, as always, you, the listener, for joining us today in this edition of Logistics Business Conversations. And remember, wherever you get your podcasts from, please subscribe to Logistics Business Conversations to make sure the next edition is delivered straight to you as soon as it's released. Until then, it's goodbye from Damon.
Thank you, Peter. Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me, Peter MacLeod. Goodbye.